doing. Now you need to understand that the Illuminati, to a Satanist, you're told that they are very powerful satanic spiritual beings.
The tower appears as the number 11. Each tower is exactly 110 stories tall, which is 11 times 10. They were destroyed on September 11th. The first tower was hit by what flight? 11.
They believe it's called lesser magic. They believe if you show what you're going to do before in a riddle, it's like the legends of vampires. They've got to trick their way into your house. They have to knock on your door and trick you into saying, welcome, come in. And then later they think they can come back. Look, they're crazy. They run everything, though, and I'm not saying why they do this. I'm not saying...
There's nothing wrong there. Now and again, just now and again, it's as it were a veil is drawn aside, and you see somebody you don't know at all. You just don't know this person, this man, this woman. And there's a completely alien look, a completely alien attitude, and they breathe alienation. And you know then, if you have a nose for it, you know then that they're perfectly possessed and there's nothing to be done about it.
But I call the Illuminati those men or women, but it's primarily men, who are working behind the scenes, who are illuminated to the secret plan. In other words, these guys, these are people on this earth who know that they are actively promoting a plan to enthrone Lucifer on planet Earth.
The belief is that everybody was created to be happy forever, and God wants everybody to enjoy heaven, the joys of heaven, the perpetuity of heaven, the peace of heaven, and the ecstasy of heaven. The demons, excluded from that and barred from it because of their rebellion, want to make sure that as many human beings as possible don't attain it.
A part of that plan, of course, is to induce the gradual surrender of American sovereignty, piece by piece and step by step, to various international organizations, of which the United Nations is the outstanding but far from the only example. Now, here are the aims for the United States. 1, greatly expanded government spending for every conceivable means of getting rid of ever larger sums of American money as wastefully as possible. 2, higher and then much higher taxes. 3, an increasingly unbalanced budget despite the higher taxes. 4, wild inflation of our currency. 5, government controls of prices, wages, and materials, supposedly to combat inflation. 6, greatly increased socialistic controls over every operation of our economy and every activity of our daily lives. This is to be accompanied, naturally and automatically, by a correspondingly huge increase in the size of our bureaucracy and in both the cost and reach of our domestic government. 7, far more centralization of power in Washington and the practical elimination of our state lines. There is a many-faceted drive at work to have our state lines eventually mean no more within the nation than our county lines do now within the states. 8, the steady advance of federal aid to and control over our educational system, leading to complete federalization of our public education. 9, a constant hammering into the American consciousness of the horror of modern warfare, the beauties and the absolute necessity of peace, peace always on communist terms, of course. And 10, the consequent willingness of the American people to allow the steps of appeasement by our government which amount to a piecemeal surrender of the rest of the free world and of the United States itself.
Now a question. What have Herbert Hoover, Art Linkletter, Jack London, and Richard Nixon all had in common? Well, they've all been members of the exclusive all-male Bohemian Club in California, where every year at this time the elite from around the country get together for 2.5 weeks of fun and games. Steve Shepard has this special assignment report.
More than 2,000 members of San Francisco's exclusive and all-male Bohemian Club have once again descended on Northern California. These men will spend most of the month of July encamped on some 2,700 acres of pristine and privately owned redwood forest. Forest very much like this. The place is called Bohemian Grove, and it's located just 80 miles north of San Francisco. The Grove is the Bohemian Club's summer retreat, and its facilities are hidden beneath lush forest canopy extending south from the banks of Sonoma County's Russian River. For more than a century, the camp has been a place where club members and guests from all across America gather to relax. The retreat is divided into dozens of small camps, the most prominent of which is called Mandalay. Among its members are businessmen like Leonard Firestone and Edgar Kaiser, and political figures like Gerald Ford, Henry Kissinger, William French Smith, and George Shultz. President Reagan, Vice President Bush, and Defense Secretary Weinberger are members of other camps. Richard Nixon is a Bohemian, and so are high-ranking executives of such companies as Eastern Airlines, Standard Oil of Indiana, and Bank of America. For the most part, the men of Bohemian Grove are over 50, highly successful, and, according to many employees, politically conservative.
You don't give a good goddamn about redemption. I know Christ is coming, but so am I. You would too if the sexy devil caught your eye. She'll suck it dry, still will cry to be back in her bosom. To do it again, we should make it.
What they do then is they take the body off and they put it on a slab here under the owl, and they set a fire. Now, what you hear very clearly on this tape, whatever the background, is when they set fire to this effigy body, you hear a blood-curdling, bloody scream. Now, one of two things are happening here. Either they're actually doing it to somebody, or they've actually put a blood-curdling scream on the tape to blast out as part of the ritual.
Once again, midsummer sets us free.
Is massive. This is how George Bush dresses up, right here. We got him on tape. This is how they dress up, right here, in red and black robes. A little more pointy, though, like the Klan. We got him on tape. This is how George Bush...
So the symbol of the Bohemian Club, as they call it, is the owl. Now, the owl is significant to the Illuminati going right back to Babylon. This is an original Babylonian depiction of a Babylonian goddess, and they are guarded by the owl. How interesting that I should find this on a map of the Congress building in Washington. All I've done is drawn a red line around the roads within the complex of the Congress building, and it's got the Congress in its belly. How appropriate. Now this next one I have done absolutely nothing to. It is just a straight shot from a street directory you can find anywhere in Washington today. An owl with the Congress in its belly standing on a pyramid. Everything is symbolism to these people.
Hi, my name is Larry. I'm from Ohio, and I would just like the world to know about a $20 bill that I have in my possession. First, I'd like to start with, I've had a lot of religious experiences happen to me over the years. I've dealt with where my hair will always stand up, you know, and I just have feelings of things all around me. I've been on Everybody Has a Story for religious things that have happened to me. I've had strange things happen to me in churches and different things, and this latest thing is something I believe the world needs to know. I've been holding on to this story since 2004. I've had many friends that have looked at this, and I just believe that it needs to get out of the Ohio Valley and let others know about it. And what it is in this religious book, Bible of mine I've had for a long time, is a $20 bill. And most of these $20 bills, which when this came out in 2004, the watermark is Jackson and Jackson. Well, the day I got this bill, we were all looking at the light because it was a brand new bill, and as we were looking at it, it was Jackson, Jackson. We clearly saw the bill, and I have a lot of friends that, you know, witnessed this bill at the time when I got it. Well, that evening I took it home, and I went to put it in my Angel Book Bible as a bookmarker because I didn't have my other Angel bookmarker, and I basically just took it and I stuck it in the book and went to sleep like that and thought nothing of it. So the next morning I went to get up to use that $20 bill for gas, and as I did, I couldn't believe what I saw when I looked at the light the final time. When I looked with the watermark, it looked more, instead of Jackson now, it looked as his Bush. And Bush, our president, and the difference is, it has a horn on the head now. So when I saw this, I ran out of the house, I went to tell people, and I told the news story and everything else, and everybody was just freaking out because they couldn't believe what was on my image on my bill. First thing they said was, is it real? And I said, yeah, it's real, it's the same bill. So I took it to different banks and had the news station take it to banks and stuff, and what you're about ready to see is, on this bill, is you're going to notice that this watermark isn't Jackson, it is Bush. And as I take it up here, I'm going to have him show you in the light here to what you will see. And as he's showing it to you, I'm going to get another bill for the exact same year and show you what it's supposed to look like and what that looks like. You see clearly in the watermark is the image of Bush. The nose, the chin, the eyes, there's a horn coming from the head. And the news stories that I have support that. It's been on News 9, News 7. It's been in regular articles, online stories, which I can submit that all with my story. And every time I try to submit the story outside of Ohio Valley, somehow or somewhere it seems to stop my story. And I've had back in the earlier day when I got this to where people were watching me over it, and you know, like I shouldn't do nothing with it. But I think the world has a right to know about it. And the dreams I've been having lately, I believe, are signs from God that wants other people to see this bill too. This image means something of a religious proportion, I believe. And I'm going to switch this bill with him for another bill for the exact same year and everything. And as you notice, it's a totally different face, totally different everything. You can clearly see the differences in them. Same year, 2004, when the new ones came out and everything. And if you notice, mine is extremely detailed. The horn, the eyes, chin, everything. And as you see on there on the left side, the top one, his face, the details and everything, and compared to the bottom one, which is Jackson. It's like the whole face of the Bush bill is completely formatted in a total formation. I've had people cry, holding it, looking at it, people scared of it.
The word Illuminati is derived from Lucifer and means holders of the light. Using the lie that his objective was to bring about a one-world government, to enable men with proven mental ability to govern the world, he recruited about 2,000 followers. These included the most intelligent men in the field of arts and letters, education, the sciences, finance, and industry. He then established lodges of the Grand Orient to be their secret headquarters. Weishaupt's revised plan required his Illuminati to do the following things to help them accomplish their purpose. 1. Use monetary and sex bribery to obtain control of people already occupying positions in high places in the various levels of all governments and other fields of human endeavor. Once an influential person had fallen for the lies, deceits, and temptations of the Illuminati, they were to be held in bondage by application of political and other forms of blackmail and threats of financial ruin, public exposure, and physical harm, and even death to themselves and their loved ones. Number 6, the power of our resources must remain invisible until the very moment when it has gained the strength that no cunning or force can undermine it. And if you will notice, it's been very few people know about the Illuminati, so they have maintained their invisibility until most recently. Number 7, advocated mob psychology to obtain control of the masses. Number 8, use alcohol, drugs, moral corruption, and all forms of vice to systematically corrupt the youth of the nation.
And I feel strongly that Geithner, this is AIG, Goldman, and you know what? The Bavarian Illuminati, the Trilateral Commission, Goldman Sachs, and the Queen of England are not all bad.
What happened?
I think you're in a liquidation phase. I think Kirsten had it exactly right. I think there's a bunch of wrong-footed moves by Hank Paulson and the Illuminati of the country, if you will. And
the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. No president should fear public scrutiny of his program, for from that scrutiny comes understanding, and from that understanding comes support or opposition, and both are necessary. I am not asking your newspapers to support an administration, but I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people. For I have complete confidence in the response and dedication of our citizens whenever they are fully informed. I not only could not stifle controversy among your readers, I welcome it. This administration intends to be candid about its errors. For as a wise man once said, an error doesn't become a mistake until you refuse to correct it. We intend to accept full responsibility for our errors, and we expect you to point them out when we miss them. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive. That is why the Athenian lawmaker Solon decreed it a crime for any citizen to shrink from controversy. And that is why our press was protected by the First Amendment, the only business in America specifically protected by the Constitution, not primarily to amuse and entertain, not to emphasize the trivial and the sentimental, not to simply give the public what it wants, but to inform, to arouse, to reflect, to state our dangers and our opportunities, to indicate our crises and our choices, to lead, mold, educate, and sometimes even anger public opinion. This means greater coverage and analysis of international news, for it is no longer far away and foreign, but close at hand and local. It means greater attention to improved understanding of the news, as well as improved transmission. And it means, finally, that government at all levels must meet its obligation to provide you with the fullest possible information outside the narrowest limits of national security. And so it is to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance, confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.
But I love stand. Be who you want to be. This is Wonderland. We'll live to love again. If this is to die for, then I'm your man. I love love, but love don't love me. I love love, but love don't love me. Safe on the outside, there's a hole within. Get what you're looking for, then come back again. We'll live to love again. If this is to die for, then I'm your man.
You have all the money in the world you need. You have all the power you need. What's the point? You know, what's the end goal? And he said the end goal is to get everybody chipped, to control the whole society.
We began to investigate and find out where in the body does the temperature change the most rapidly.
Și așa că ne-am dus și am făcut cercetări să vedem în care parte a corpului temperatura se schimbă cel mai mult.
We spent over $1 million in taxpayer money.
Am cheltuit $1 milion în proiectul acesta din banii celor care plătesc taxele.
And when the results came back, it was determined that there were two places in the body that were ideal for the microchip.
Astfel am ajuns la concluzia că erau două locuri în corpul omenesc care sunt ideale pentru a plasa acest microchip.
One was just below the hairline on the forehead.
Una era chiar lângă păr, pe frunte.
The other place was the hand, the right hand preferred, because most people are right-handed.
Alt loc era pe mâna dreaptă, pentru că majoritatea oamenilor.
They told me not to read the book of Revelation.
Și mi-au spus să nu citesc cartea Apocalipsa.
Then one day I came to Revelation 13, verse 16.
Odată am ajuns să citesc în Apocalipsa, capitolul 13, versetul 16.
Yeah.
16.
And he caused us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Și au făcut ca toți, mici și mari, bogați și săraci, slobozi și robi, să primească un semn pe mâna dreaptă sau pe frunte.
I didn't like what I saw.
The whole agenda is to create a one world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces, bright and early for their daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. Their tears are filling up their glasses, no expression, no expression. Hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrow. No tomorrow, no tomorrow. And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Children waiting for the day they feel good. Happy birthday, happy birthday. And to feel the way that every child should sit and listen, sit and listen. Went to school and I was very nervous. No one knew me, no one knew me. Hello teacher, tell me what's my lesson. Look right through me, look right through me. And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world.
provide certain options for the adversary. If he knows that this is a tracker, and somebody's going to come back and get this tracker because they think it's associated with a human being, they have the ability to set up an ambush. Knows that this is a tracker, and somebody's going to come back and get this tracker because they think it's associated with a human being. They have the ability to set up an ambush. Knows that this is a tracker, and somebody's going to come back and get this tracker because they think it's associated with a human being. They have the ability to set up an ambush. Knows that this is a tracker, and somebody's gonna come back and get tracker.
The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world.
To set up an ambush.
Children waiting for the day they feel good. Happy
Now that we know Vice President Dick Cheney and Senator Barack Obama are distant cousins, the New York Post decided to check into the genealogy of President Bush. And his family tree has people talking.
Let me take you through this, branch by branch.
The 101st Airborne Division, air assault.
Vice President Dick Cheney, the man who's only a heartbeat away from the presidency, is actually a blood relation. He's President Bush's 9th cousin once removed. Cheney's cousin Barack Obama is also Bush's 11th cousin and the 9th cousin of Brad Pitt. But we're only just getting started. President Lincoln was President Bush's 7th cousin 5 times removed, and Bush shared more than just a ballot with John Kerry. That's right, they're 9th cousins. He's also related to Playboy founder Hugh Hefner, even Pocahontas, and Vlad the Impaler. Trace the family tree far enough, and you get Madonna, Celine Dion, and Tom Hanks.
Many of the United States presidents have blood relations with each other. The Bush lineage has blood ties to a great number of former presidents. George Washington, Millard Fillmore, Franklin Pierce, Abraham Lincoln, Ulysses Grant, Rutherford Hayes, James Garfield, Grover Cleveland, Teddy Roosevelt, William Taft, Calvin Coolidge, Herbert Hoover, Franklin Roosevelt, Richard Nixon, and Gerald Ford. Michael Tessarion points out in his work that Bush is closely related to every European monarch on and off the throne, and has kinship with every member of Britain's royal family. Bush's family tree can be documented as far back as the early 15th century. He has a direct descent from Henry III and from Henry VIII's sister Mary Tudor. He is also descended from Charles II of England. And we also find that George W. Bush is a direct descendant of Godfrey de Bouillon. Godfrey was the first king of Jerusalem after he recaptured it from the Saracens, which was the name for the Islamic faith during the Middle Ages. It is interesting to note that the current occupation of the United States in the Middle East was re-established by the same family, George Bush Sr. in 1991, and again by George Bush Jr. in 2003. George Bush Jr. is then found to be a cousin to both opposing candidates of his 2 terms in office, Al Gore and John Kerry. Democratic President Barack Obama also has blood ties with George W. Bush, as well as Gerald Ford, Lyndon Johnson, Harry Truman, James Madison, and the British Prime Minister Sir Winston Churchill.
Are known as the Illuminati, the illuminated ones, and they're the ones that control the transnational corporations, governments, the banking system, the whole shebang that dictates and controls the direction of society.
crê que Disney é entretenimento familiar? Do you really believe that? Você crê que a Disney...
The Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it. Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress? I was... Look again.
Escute bem, com o nível de bruxaria, satanismo, pornografia e espiritismo nos vídeos da Disney. Eu somente vou dizer alguns nessa noite porque o tempo não permite, porque eu quero que a sua casa seja livre, como a nossa casa foi livre. Por exemplo, no vídeo de Marmaid, como se chama Marmaid, do rio Marmaid, aqui no Brasil. Lênia Sereia, veja aqui, meu querido. Quero que você veja a capa da sereia. Se você parou para pensar e para examinar na capa a coluna terceira da mão direita para a esquerda,
I've mentioned the New World Order in school. The teachers and the faculty laugh. They literally call it a conspiracy. Even though it's been admitted, it's a conspiracy. But now I'm taking American history. Here's my book, American History. And as I was looking through it today in class, I came across something that we will be learning about. America in the New World Order. You can see that, I hope.
A new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be.
And required the destruction of all existing governments and religions. This objective was to be reached by dividing the masses, whom he termed goyim, meaning human cattle, into opposing camps in ever-increasing numbers on political, racial, social, economic, and other issues. The opposing sides were then to be armed, and an incident provided which would cause them to fight and weaken themselves as they destroyed national governments and religious institutions.
phenomena of chemtrails. And, you know, when I was a kid, I used to see these trails in the sky all the time. And so, oh, that's cool. A jet just went over. And then you started to see a whole bunch of them. And the next thing you know, everybody in your neighborhood was fighting and arguing, and you didn't know why. Okay? And you really didn't know why. I mean, everybody was fighting.
66% of United States residents' public water is fluoridated. It is known to have tremendous effects on bone cancer, joint problems, bone weakness, lowered estrogen and testosterone levels, and dental fluorosis, which is yellowing of the teeth and pitting in the enamel. Wouldn't it make more sense to enhance public water with vitamins which are meant to be ingested to promote overall health, rather than putting such a toxic chemical in our water with a bogus explanation that it will improve our dental health? We now know that fluoride causes more dental problems than it solves. Something doesn't seem right about this. Do you honestly believe that these companies care deeply enough for the people to spend large amounts of their own money to fluoridate public water when the people already purchase their own toothpaste? But there's a difference between toothpaste and drinking water. We don't ingest toothpaste. If you go to any hardware store and look at any rat poison product, you will only find one ingredient: sodium fluoride. It is the most toxic ionic molecule outside of potassium dichromate. Now Dannon, along with other companies, have begun fluoridating bottled water. It is becoming increasingly difficult to get away from. And the fact that fluoride is also used in many prescription antidepressants shows that it eliminates aggression and motivation in people.
Fluoride, to my knowledge as a physician, has absolutely no biological benefit whatsoever.
But one of the significant things is that the Russians carried out all sorts of experiments on the people living in the Gulag. One of them, of course, was to fluoridate the water. Why? If you fluoridate the water, why people are not as aggressive as they ordinarily would be. In fact, what is the active ingredient in Prozac that is so widely distributed in America today? Why, it's a fluoride compound.
And now, we are finding that public water nationwide is showing up with arsenic, lead, cadmium, and thermonium, which is a radioactive form of lead. Cancer, lowered sex drive, birth defects, sedation, and brain defects. Does this not sound like a wonder drug for anyone aiming to control a population?
Prophecy is what we all have to go by now. It's very interesting. I did a sold-out concert in London. We played 21 nights in a row, and all the concerts were sold out. When I would watch television over there, and you'd see the United Nations feed, the direct feed from the United Nations, you'd hear them talk a lot about religion. You'd hear the Bible mentioned constantly. This is not what we're used to in the United States. It's almost as though there's no need for God and no need for religion and justice in politics.
One consciousness, well, that means that everybody's going to speak the same language. We're going to be under the same set of rules. It looks like we're all going to be wearing the same clothes according to this utopia. I mean, what is this? I mean, is this the humanity that you want to bring your children up in? It certainly isn't what I want, and it is what these globalists want. However, he fails to recognize that when they want to bring this in, well, they want to cut the population down by about 80%.
The sustainable goal is the elimination of the middle class. The world cannot support 6 billion people. But you see, the plan behind sustainable development includes population control. It's a program for land use control, education control, and population control. The leaders of the sustainable movement say that the world's human population should not exceed 500 million people. That's a 93% reduction of today's population levels. In 1992, while the Rio conference was going on, George Bush, then president, was there. He was just offshore in Prince Charles's yacht, where he executed the Agenda 21 protocols on behalf of the United States and brought it back to Washington, D.C. Within a year, Bill Clinton, by executive order, established the President's Council for Sustainable Development.
In 1996, Bill Clinton set up the President's Council on Sustainable Development. One of the dictates of Agenda 21 is that every country in the world is to set up a national council to oversee the implementation of Agenda 21. I've listened to Gorbachev explain, we are writing a new set of 10 or 15 commandments to replace the original 10. Which one of the 10 do you think these guys don't like? Thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not covet. Because I'll tell you what, these people have lied to us. They're in the process of stealing all of this nation's natural resources, and they covet everything you have left.
The founder of the Illuminati, Adam Weishaupt, was the first one to ever suggest that Freemasonry was genuine Christianity, and that out of it would come a new religion. Now there was a woman named Alice Bailey who founded the Lucis Trust, which is the publishing house which prints and disseminates United Nations material. This connection shows the New Age and pagan nature of the UN and the New World Order. Lucis Trust was established in 1922 as Lucifer Trust by Alice Bailey, which disseminates the books of Bailey and Helena Blavatsky. Bailey changed the name to Lucis Trust because Lucifer Trust revealed the true nature of the New Age movement too clearly. In Bailey's book Externalization of the Hierarchy, page 453, she promotes the waging of war on conservative religious elements. She states, "Years ago I said that the war which may follow this one would be waged in the field of world religions. It will be fought largely with mental weapons and in the world of thought. It will involve also the emotional realm. From the standpoint of idealistic fanaticism, this inherent fanaticism will fight against the appearance of the coming world religion and the spread of esotericism. For this struggle, certain of the well-organized churches, though their conservative elements are already girding themselves, those sensitive to the new spiritual impacts, are still far from powerful. That which is new always faces the supreme difficulty of superseding and overcoming that which is old and established." Near the end of her book on page 291, Acharya S. advocates the same thing as Bailey in that Christianity must be destroyed and that it has no role in the New Age, she states. But the future is now, and the maneuvers are being unveiled. As far as Christianity's role in this New Age, Carpenter states, "Christianity, therefore, as I say, must either now come frankly forward and acknowledge its parentage from the great order of the past, seek to rehabilitate that, and carry mankind one step forward in the path of evolution, or else it must perish. There is no alternative."
A new study says the news media have been pushing a gospel of godlessness on the American public. The Media Research Center's Culture and Media Institute looked at broadcast news, the 3 leading news magazines, and National Public Radio. They found that 80% of feature stories about atheism and atheists had a positive tone. None of the feature stories were negative. And most Christian-themed stories included atheist counterpoints or were written from an atheist perspective.
They do not tell the truth, they're lying. And they manipulate our history books. The history books are not true, it's a lie. The history books are lying.
I am one of the 63336. We each have special knowledge.
We are a network of minds with answers.
Who's going to win the World Cup? Are baboons evil?
When's the last train from Leeds to Hull?
Are what?
Where? You can text any question
to the 63336 on
63336.
Text any question to 63336.
The Masons are using the entertainment industry in particular to condition people to their way of thinking, either openly or subliminally. The methods they use vary, but the goal is the same: to impose their beliefs, their ideology and their objectives on you in such a way that you begin to think of them as your own. Evidence of their presence within popular entertainment is widespread.
What is your inspiration for your music?
I'm really inspired by my friends. I'm really inspired by my friends. I'm really inspired by my friends.
Stop looking at me with them Illuminati eyes.
Well, let me explain the New World Order. Let me help you earn your spurs.
the World Trade Center bombing.
Those people who have been yelling, "Oh, the UN's going to take over global
conspiracy
government,"
theorists.
They've been crazy, but now they're right.
Yeah, well, when Geithner,
it's happening.
When Geithner said he would be open to the idea of a global currency last week, those conspiracy people had said and suggested that for years. Right. You're not wrong.
The question then becomes, what is the light of Masonry? Lucifer, strange and mysterious name to give to the spirit of darkness. Is it he who bears the light? Doubt it not.
Doubt it not.
Doubt it not.
doing? Secret ritual.
The secret royal order of the Good Neighbor Lodge.
Is this some stupid club you two made up? Baby.
Hello everyone, it's Dan from Press for Truth, and I thought I'd make a little video today just to show you my collection of Illuminati archives, rare documents, rare books, and just information on the New World Order in general. So I've laid Harper's Weekly from September 22nd, 1894. And if I can show you what I have here, this is something else here too. We have an article on the Bohemian Grove, the Bohemian Club of San Francisco. Very long article, and it goes on to say stuff like this. Over in a little hollow a few hundred yards from the grove was built a funeral pyre on which turpentine had been sprinkled. The coffin was laid on this pyre. The high priest took his stand on the platform beside it. Around him, in a semicircle, the choristers and demons with their torches were grouped. The high priest went through a ceremonial in which the choir behind him intoned or sang the words he spoke. He called on the Bohemians to present their carton cares and heartaches to be put on the pyre and burned up. Then came some jokes pertinent to club members and matters. Then he invoked the Saint John, adopted by the club for his appropriateness in several ways, and suddenly an enormous figure of Saint John in his robes burst into flame. The pyre was lighted. Care and the Blue Devils went up in the most beautiful and effective form of fireworks, and amid jubilant cries, the hijinks was over. They've also included artist rendition pictures. Check this out. You have them in their little devils in their robes around the sacrificial altar. We have the giant redwoods there with the little devils dancing around. We have their motto, "Weaving spiders, come not here." That's why I chose the name Weaving Spider for my YouTube channel, because I'm coming for you guys. And yeah, again, this is from September 22nd, 1894. Very, very interesting article there. Okay, what else? We have a copy of Morals and Dogma, what some have called the Bible of Freemasonry, although many Masons would disagree with that claim, but it's commonly referred to as that. A lot of information in there. We have this book here, very interesting. This was given to me by a girl whose father was a Freemason, and she didn't know much about him or the group that he was a part of. So when he died, a bunch of Masons came to her house and collected all of his books. And she managed to grab this one without them seeing, and she gave it to me with some hope that I could shed some light on this group that her father was a part of. So let me just show you what it says in the front cover here. I hereby agree to receive the work upon the following terms, to which I solemnly promise strict adherence. That it shall be used solely for my own information and instruction, that I will not lend or transfer it to any individual whomsoever, nor copy it, or any portion of it, nor improperly expose it, so that others may acquire knowledge of its existence and purport, nor leave it about in such a manner as to be seen by an unqualified individual. Whoopsie daisy. Goes on to say that I will not admit the existence of the work or the possession thereof by me to any person who does not hold the rank of principal valesman or some higher rank in a properly constituted chapter. And goes on to say what to say and when, when they're doing their rituals. You can see in the back here it has little maps of where to walk around the altar when they're doing the rituals. So again, very, very interesting little book I have here. What else? We have Tragedy and Hope by Carol Quigley. Very, very good read. It's a big book, as you can see, but definitely a wealth of information there. Another one by Professor Carol Quigley is The Evolution of Civilizations. Definitely some good information there about how societies operate. We have Codex Magica from Tex Mars. Secret Signs, Mysterious Symbols, and Hidden Codes of the Illuminati. It's definitely a good one. The latest one from Tex is Mysterious Monuments, Encyclopedia of Secret Illuminati Designs, Masonic Architecture, and Occult Places. That is also a very good one. We have Project Lucid. Dark Majesty, The Secret Brotherhood and the Magic of 1,000 Points of Light. This one's one of my favorite ones from Tex. Circle of Intrigue. The hidden inner circle of the global Illuminati conspiracy. Strongly recommend that one. Mystery Mark of the New Age. The Two Babylons, Papal Worship. This one, Fritz Springmeier, Bloodlines of the Illuminati. I would strongly recommend. A lot of names, a lot of information. It's definitely a good one to have in the collection. What else? Conspirators' Hierarchy. The Story of the Committee of 300 by Dr. John Coleman. This one is excellent. It's a lot of names. A lot of names. I'd strongly recommend it. Behold the Pale Horse by Bill Cooper. It's classic. Gotta have it in the collection. What else? Propaganda by Edward Bernays. This one is excellent. I would strongly recommend it. It truly breaks down the propaganda machine and shows how the masses are manipulated and controlled. What else? The Elite Don't Dare Let Us Tell the People by Robert Ross. Excellent information in this one. The Elite Serial Killers of Lincoln, RFK, JFK, and MLK. It's another good one. Symbols of Freemasonry. Let's see. Most Evil Secret Societies. This one's not that great. This is Paul Martin's book that he signed for me when I confronted him. This is John Kretchen's book that he signed for me when I confronted him. What else? Satan's Government. That one's pretty good. And then just a couple other, like 1984, Brave New World, another Huxley.
Any traveler to Denver Airport, Colorado, is in for a scary experience. This airport has been the subject of many questions due to the unexplainable symbols, images, and stories that have surfaced. Denver Airport was built in 1995 on a span of 53 square miles. Even though Denver already had a functioning airport, a new one was decidedly built. This new airport had less runways and absolutely no new technological advancement. The only thing that this new airport has that the old one didn't is a strangely large amount of space. When looking at an aerial shot of the new airport, the layout has shocked many. Denver Airport's runways have been situated in such a way that resembles a Nazi swastika. Not only has the shape of Denver Airport been called to question, but also what is located inside. But who is in charge of all the weird nuances at this airport? The general consensus is that it is the New World Order. But their main goal is to create one united world government that has no regional boundaries. But this would only be possible in one way, and that is to commit a mass genocide and narrow down the world's population to 2 billion people. Their reasoning for this thought is because there would be more control. Denver Airport has a myriad of symbols that are correlated to the New World Order. There is a dedication stone in the airport that mentions the New World Airport Commission. However, there is no such thing. The New World Airport Commission is made up and was never created. The murals located in the airport are the most notable features of this airport. The main mural stretches over 4 walls and was painted by Chicano artist Leo Tanguma, who was in fact Mayan. The first mural here shows 3 dead women, an African, a Native American, and a young Jewish girl. In the background, we can see the destruction of a city and a forest. This attempts to show the destruction of the world. Another notable part of this mural is the fact that there is a little girl carrying a Mayan tablet. This alludes to the Mayan date of December 21st, 2012. This is when the Mayans predict that the world is going to go through a rebirth phase. The main emphasis of this mural, once again, is the destruction of the world and the preservation of some life. The second mural shows a huge military figure wearing a gas mask and holding a machine gun and a sword. This sword is stabbing a dove, which is the symbol for peace, and implies that peace will be destroyed. There are grayish waves emanating from the figure, and these waves represent death, or in this case, a poisonous gas that has killed everyone in its path. The third mural shows all of the children of the world taking their weapons from each country and giving them to a German boy, who is then molding them into something else. All the children of this scene are of different ethnicity, and all seem to be relieved. The gas mask man in the previous mural is seen dead, and there are 2 doves perched on his body. The main emphasis of this mural is to show the return of peace after all the killings have taken place, and that there will be no more need for weapons in this perfect world. The final mural has a Jesus-like figure in the middle, who is holding a plant which symbolizes rebirth. All of the people are running towards this man with happy expressions. Animals are freely roaming, and everything seems to be in perfect harmony. This final mural alludes to a new Garden of Eden, where the world is perfect size, and everything could work together in peace after the genocide that has taken place. All in all, these murals, when put together, represent the formation of a new world filled with fewer people, and this is also the goal of the New World Order, which has been seen represented throughout various parts of the airport. When first constructing the airport, there were originally 5 buildings, but out of the blue, the builders were ordered to bury the buildings underground because they were supposedly built wrong. Normally, a building that is built wrong would be demolished, but in this case it was not. This allowed for an underground base to be created. But there are still workers who are sent to work in these underground bases periodically. But when they are questioned about the nature of their work, they all refuse to comment. These underground bases have been going under more construction and now have underground tunnels that connect all the buildings together. According to a contractor, these tunnels have a strange sprinkler system that was added onto the roofs of the tunnel. But this sprinkler system has no valid use, as these tunnels are concrete and underground. If relating these sprinkler systems back to the sign of AUAG in front of the mural regarding genocide, then one must begin to wonder what the use of a sprinkler in a concrete tunnel 150 feet below the ground would be. These underground bases appear to be holding rooms due to the sheer mass and size, and some say that they even allude to concentration camps. This is because, 1. These holding rooms have no purpose, and when the airport authorities were questioned, they say that they are merely being used for storage, And 2, all the barbed wire fences face the inside of the airport rather than facing the outside, which is what they usually do. This implies that they are trying to keep things in rather than keep things out. And 3, the sprinkler systems have no use, but they may be related to the deadly virus Australian antigen and the pursuits of the New World Order. People have attempted to argue that the underground bases are being used for storage. But one fact must be questioned, and that is, why is the underground base 88.5 square miles long? And why were the 5 buildings mysteriously buried? No airport has or needs that much storage room. So what is this space really being used for? Whenever the authorities are questioned, they are not allowed to answer. We are not the only ones who seem to be fascinated with this airport. The Queen of England, alongside many other famous European royalty and politicians, are hurriedly buying property close to the airport under an alias. One can only assume that they must feel that there is something significant about this airport in order to do so. It is very easy to dismiss a conspiracy theory, but it is not hard to dismiss cold, hard facts that surround them. The odd happenings in this airport have been called to questions, but all the questions have been dismissed and have not been answered. Is the New World Order really going to attempt to take over? And if they are, does that mean that our own government is involved? Research nowadays can only do so much. Now, only time will tell. This is Zara Malik, News and Views.
many of the milestones in my occult career were accompanied by UFO sightings. I've probably seen at least a dozen or more UFOs in my life, some of them very close. And I believe there's a very big point. I believe this is going to be a part of the great deception that is coming down on us as part of the end times. But I want to give you some background. UFOs are not new. What many of you might not know is that they've been around centuries. They're even in the Bible. There's good and bad UFOs in the Bible. How many of you knew that? In fact, God has one heck of a UFO in Ezekiel 1. It's a living machine. Think of that. I mean, I know some of you think your cars are alive, you know, but this is a real living machine. It's a wheel within a wheel with eyes, and it says in the Word of God that that wheel has a spirit in it. That means, by biblical definition, it's alive. So that's one of God's UFOs.
Top researchers in the last century, really, is Jacques Vallée, France, and J. Allen Hynek, the American. Now, J. Allen Hynek was head of astronomy at Cornell, and he set out to debunk this nonsense about UFOs, and he became one of the most ardent, competent, balanced researchers in the trade. J. Allen Hynek, he died a few years ago. Both of these respected researchers came to the conclusion that they're not intergalactic. For lots of physics, there are a lot of physics rebuttals to that conjecture. They both argued that these things are demonic. Their term.
You are the instruments that God is going to use to bring about universal change. And that is why Barack has captured the youth. And he has involved young people in a political process that they didn't care anything about. That's a sign. When the Messiah speaks, the youth will hear. And the Messiah is absolutely speaking.
Absolutely right that John McCain has not talked about my Muslim faith.
Her emotions ran high following Obama's speech.
It was the most memorable time of my life. It was a touching moment because I never thought this day would ever happen. I won't have to worry about putting gas in my car. I won't have to worry about paying my mortgage. You know, if I help him, he's going to help me.
I wanted to draw a picture that describes effectively the false left-right paradigm. The Republican Party props up the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party props up the Republican Party. By itself, a single-party system will fall over. But if you take the two-party systems and you lean them up against each other, this is basically the arch. Their force going together keeps them together and makes it become a very strong, stable platform on which they can build their hierarchical New World Order system. So the current two-party system has been dominated and bought up and controlled by the elite that sits atop it. Now the elite with a one-party system would not be balanced on top of one party. They would be subject to being toppled. But you put the two parties up against each other, they form a royal arch. And now it's very hard to separate those two because they're leaning up against each other. And so Republicans attack Barack Obama. And then the Democrats attack John McCain. And then the population who's down here is trained to see John McCain as representing them personally, as being their daddy, of where their personal power comes from, of their camp, their brand name, their brand of soda. And so this is a controlled paradigm. And really, it's one unit supporting themselves and containing revolution, so that the people who are down here never learn that there is a world outside of this controlled paradigm. We are locked within the left-right paradigm, and then it becomes this huge pageant, this huge distraction where we analyze every facet of the two political parties, never realizing they themselves are simply a front or puppets for a larger power structure. And then they can limit the scope of differences, which, if you look at it, there's almost no difference between the two, instead of getting the people to look outside the box at the wider world.
If we stay steadfast to the Constitution, at least, we won't be hit so hard with that global agenda. Here's what we were talking about the other day. If you really want to see what black governance is like, take a look at the mayors of major cities. When the cities were in power, we couldn't be the mayors. It's when the cities lost power, they put in black mayors. When the states had power, we couldn't be governors. But then when the states lose power, we got senators, governors, African-American senators and governors. Now the nation has lost power. The dollar has lost power. The world is global. Now you can get a black president because it doesn't matter. It's global now. So the real issue is this. Are you going to allow this system to tempt you into their prisons, into their job, into their psyche? Follow your purpose. This is what will defeat it all. If you're on your purpose, even death respects purpose. That's why I'm here, because I'm on my purpose. You don't think they hear me every day? You don't think they hear Alex Jones every day? You don't think they just heard? You don't think the FBI was out there right now? But you know what? They can't do nothing to a person who stands with the truth. Because I forgot who said it, but I'll quote it. It's a saying that says, what a disadvantage it is to only be able to die for your country one time. The concept is this: don't get caught up. I said it on stage. They put a black face on the New World Order, and now we all happy. KRS ain't buying it. I never been a voter. This year I voted. Why did I vote? Because I want to be able to critique. That's why I voted. I didn't vote for Bush. I didn't vote for my...
you had to repudiate Bush. That's why I said...
Yeah. Even if I voted for Bush, he still was going to be... If I didn't vote or did vote, he still was going to be the president. And this is the point. This is the point.
If they controlled it before, why would they let go now?
Boom!
I mean, for people who sit on the air...
Wait a minute. Wait. Here it is. If they controlled it before, what makes you think they're not controlling it now? The country was on a verge of revolution. They threw a black man up. Now we like this.
So you listen to me. Listen to me. Television is not the truth. Television is a goddamn amusement park. Television is a circus, a carnival, a traveling troupe of acrobats, storytellers, dancers, singers, jugglers, sideshow freaks, lion tamers, and football players. We're in the boredom-killing business. So if you want the truth, go to God. Go to your gurus. Go to yourselves. Because that's the only place you're ever going to find any real truth. But man, you're never going to get any truth from us. We'll tell you anything you want to hear. We lie like hell. We'll tell you that Kojak always gets the killer and that nobody ever gets cancer in Archie Bunker's house. And no matter how much trouble the hero is in, don't worry, just look at your watch. At the end of the hour, he's going to win. We'll tell you any shit you want to hear. We deal in illusions, man. None of it is true. But you people sit there day after day, night after night, all ages, colors, creeds. We're all you know. You're beginning to believe the illusions we're spinning here. You're beginning to think that the tube is reality and that your own lives are unreal. You do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like the tube. You eat like the tube. You raise your children like the tube. You even think like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion. So turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
The wind round here gets wicked cold, but my story's nearly told. I fear that morning will bring quite a frost. So I've left my home, I drift from land to land. I am upon your step, and you are a family man. Outside the vultures wail, the wolves howl, the serpents hiss, and to extend this small favor, friend, would be the sum of earthly bliss. Do you reckon me a friend? The sun to me is